Turned down for what? Ladies and gentlemen, that is right. We got some Wat Tambor gameplay. This show off today, and for a lot of people, this is going to be way out in the future. Even for myself, it's still going to be another 4 to 6 Geonosis territory battles before we even unlock Wat Tambor. But some of the top players and top guilds in Galaxy of Heores recently just unlocked Wat Tambor, and one of those people is a person known as Mandalore. Check out their channel down below in the video description. They were kind enough to share their footage of them testing out Wat Tambor at 4 stars with the Zeta, basically as maxed out as you possibly can be at 4 stars. We're going to highlight what I like about this character, and I think we still need to wait and see what its true potential is like, because even he said himself, he was only able to battle Jedi Knight Revan, Darth Revan, and Padme Amidala. Man, if only we had like a sandbox mode where we can test these characters out against more teams. Really, the most important thing you have to keep in mind is his tech, because he's a non-combatant unit, and what he does is at the beginning of his turns, he's going to be distributing several pieces of tech throughout his team. And if you have the Zeta on Wat Tambor, he can immediately take a turn at the beginning of battle and just distribute a piece of tech right away to kind of get the ball rolling, and he'll quickly distribute all the rest of the tech because they have a very low cooldown, and basically every time he takes a turn, he can distribute a piece of tech right away. And he tested out a few things. He did like Dooku lead, new gunnery lead, General Grievous and whatnot, so we're gonna see how he does. He does show a lot of potential, and there are a few lineups I did like seeing Wat Tambor in, and I'll explain which ones I like as we move along in the video. So most of the tech that Wat Tambor is gonna be distributing throughout his team are mostly like survivability base tax. For example, one of the first things you can distribute is something called a med pack, and with this med pack, the person who has it, they're going to recover 5% health and protection at the start of every character's turn, ally or foe, and 5% bonus protection if this character is a Separatist. So obviously, you're going to get a little bit of a bonus if you're giving this to a Separatist ally, and that's kind of what Wat Tambor is all about. He's mostly supposed to be working for the Separatists, but it's still in general, he's going to provide like a catch-all type of viability, kind of like Hermit Yoda or something like that. And generally, you see this piece of tech be distributed to mostly tanks. That's what he kind of did. He gave it to, like, for example, Magna Guard or the Geonosian Brute, because those are the guys you want to make sure are surviving as long as possible. And when you pair this tech up with other units such as the B1 Battle Droid, who are going to be constantly healing, the team that he's going to be on, assuming B1's on there, that's a lot of survivability. And even without the B1 Battle Droid, just having this extra tech ensures that your tanks are going to survive a lot longer than usual. And another one that's still kind of survivability based is going to be the Bactoid Shield Generator. And what happens is at the start of your turn, or the ally's turn, recover 30% protection and dispel own debuffs and tanks taunt while they have protection. So what happens here is that, I don't know exactly what's the best way to use this piece. This is the piece that's kind of the one that's up in the air the most. Again, it's a very catch-all thing. You can give it to anyone. But in terms of thinking from a Separatist lineup, this would be kind of nice, giving it to, for example, the B2 Super Battle Droid, because generally people like to daze them or stun them, but they can constantly cleanse themselves and then recoup protection. It's going to be hard keeping the B2 Super Battle Droid kind of to kind of put them down, but this also could work, for example, for tanks, being able to recover, make sure you're not getting the buff immunity and stuns and whatnot. So this might be good as well on Magna Guard. These two right here that we just talked about, they're very survivability based, and it's right now it's kind of hard to say which one's the guaranteed place to put them. Let me know down below. Maybe you guys got an idea, but for right now, these definitely seem to be oriented more towards those tankier type of characters that need to be taunting all the time, and also characters you don't want to be out of the battle too long, such as the B2 Super Battle Droid. Now, the one that's really interesting, and I have a couple ideas as to which one might be, what characters might be good candidates for this, is going to be the Blast Attack Weapon mod. And what happens here is that the character that has this, they're going to constantly gain 15% turn meter at the start of each enemy's turn, and then your attacks are going to ignore defense, and enemies defeated by the character who has this particular piece of tech, they can't be revived. So, I mean, the obvious candidate right away is probably going to be General Grievous. You want him to take it as many turns as possible, because the faster Grievous takes his turns, the faster he can increase his health pool. Therefore, the more damage he's going to be putting out, that's going to be increasing faster and faster and faster. And especially if you're going up against a very fast Jedi team, imagine how quickly General Grievous could be stepping up to the plate to be taking his turn. So this is definitely going to be more for those attacker-based characters. I'm just thinking of Separatists right now, or characters you want to make sure they're getting out their special abilities as fast as possible. Another candidate that might be eligible for this might be characters like Newt Gunray, because you want to make sure Newt Gunray is as fast as possible. It's because you want him to spread extortion as fast as possible, because the more extortion out there, we've done videos on this, the faster the Separatists become if Newt Gunray's in the lead and whatnot, and the more extortion means the enemies are having a hard time controlling their buffs and whatnot. So that might be another candidate. People that you want to be very fast, to get negative effects on the other team, or just to constantly get out there and do massive amounts of damage. Now that we kind of highlighted the main pieces of tech, you'll kind of see what the Mandalore was doing throughout the battle, so you kind of understand, all right, that kind of makes sense. Again, he's tested. This is his first time testing out this character, so he doesn't even know if this is the right lineups he's to be using, or this is the right strategy to be using Wat Tambor for. He's just kind of going based off his intuition. And then just a quick reminder, Wat Tambor also can revive a random dark side droid or a Separatist with his special ability, Discharge Energy. And remember, Wat Tambor grants heal over time to his allies, and if you have heal over time because of his unique ability, you're going to be able to get plus 30% critical avoidance. So there's a lot of layers to Wat Tambor, mainly survivability, and he's also going to remove turn meter if he's attacking out of turn, and applying damage over times if he's attacking out of turn. And of course, he grants 30% max protection based on his own health to his Separatist and dark side droid allies. So he's very much so bolstering at the minimum the survivability of the team, critical avoidance, lots of extra protection, then the tech pieces that we talked about. So as we're seeing throughout this battle, one of my favorite ways of using Wat Tambor, just from looking at the gameplay, is Geonosians. Now, of course, with the Geonosians, we couldn't really test them out against too much in this footage right here, but Geonosians already have very high survivability, incredibly high, and especially with our two tech pieces that we talked about earlier that improve the survivability of your characters, especially like the med pack, for example, giving it to the brute, and on top of already the hive mind healing that's going on, that's gonna be a crazy, annoying tank to try to take out. And of course, heals over time from Wat Tambor, and also he can trigger those heals over time, so those heals over time immediately regenerate health. And Geonosians, they already recover a ton of health on their own based on the health and protection swapping and using their basic, or who knows, if you give Geonosian Brood Alpha maybe the weapon mod tech, he's gonna keep taking so many turns, and the faster Geonosian Brood Alpha is taking turns, the faster he can keep cleansing and keep reviving his 6th unit, and just to constantly dispel buffs. So again, I'm not saying that's gonna be the gospel way, the one true way of distributing tech, but I'm just trying to get ideas out there, because he was able to have some success against Jedi Knight Revan, for example. So that's kind of that shows a lot of potential. And just in terms of thinking of Grand Arena, Geonosians are quite easily beaten right now by using, Darth Traya or maybe a very good Jawa Tim. Not going to go into conversation too much about that part, but maybe having Wat Tambor will increase the defensive capabilities of the team. Again, we'll have to wait and see. It's hard to kind of speculate about this without having a sure way of testing it through a sandbox mode or through a test account. But overall, Geonosians seem to show the most promise based on the footage we've seen. Now, really, the other thing that kind of seemed very obvious that Wat Tambor would work well in is a Grievous Separatist lineup. Now, we already know that Grievous can dismantle, or demolish. Dismantle's not even the right word. Demolish a Jedi Knight Revan team after his second most recent rework, and all the other kind of Gear 13 stuff that came afterwards. So what they did right here, Mandalore took out the Droideka, which made a little bit of sense. That's probably the unit you'd want to take out. Of course, a lot of damage you're sacrificing, but Wat Tambor being in place of Droideka will increase the durability of a General Grievous team, and also hopefully increase the damage output by giving the Blast Tech weapon mod over to General Grievous, so he's taking a lot of turns. So, I mean, if you had problems beating Jedi Knight Revan at this point, Wat Tambor would make it a lot easier, I suppose, but Jedi Knight Revan really stands no chance against Grievous nowadays. The main problem is right now, Wat Tambor is just way too squishy of a character. He kind of gets blown away too quickly, and a lot of times it looked like he really didn't do much except maybe get that initial bonus turnout. Then the rest of the time, he's kind of sitting in the back, because either he'll get marked or something, he'll get destroyed immediately. I think Sith Marauder one-shotted him one time. So I think right now the main problem is that Wat Tambor doesn't get the benefit from, for example, Magna Guard stealth. Magna Guard putting everyone under stealth, that was a huge thing that the Grievous team needed, and they got it during their second rework. And Wat Tambor doesn't get the benefit from that, which is why you see Mandalore try to use Count Dooku leads, or just Count Dooku in general, so he can hide Wat Tambor under stealth so he's not being bothered with. And aside just from Separatists, he did try some other stuff to be cute. I know he had some requests to use Wat Tambor, for example, with an Akbar leadership, so you can constantly keep getting bonus attacks out of turn, Akbar was kind of a popular thing in the past. However, again, he didn't really have the appropriate lineup to go up against. He went up against Padme, didn't go too well. It didn't go too well up against Darth Revan. Maybe Akbar with Wat Tambor could work against other things, but again, we just don't have complete footage to kind of showcase a bit of a broader picture of how Wat Tambor works against other teams. And I mean, I have other ideas as to how this could work. I had a lot of people asking, for example, hey, why don't you do, for example, Kira, Nest, Hoda, and Hermit Yoda, as well as Wat Tambor, and just feed Nest with a lot of stuff to keep her pumping. Maybe that could be the thing. Give Nest the Blast Tech weapon mod, or maybe give her the med pack to keep increasing her protection health so she's super durable, and then give Hermit Yoda Master's training over to Nest. Maybe that's another idea out there. Wat Tambor has a lot of theory crafting potential. I really want to see, and hopefully in the next 4 to 6 Geonosis territory battles, I could unlock it myself and do a lot more testing on my main account, since on the test accounts we don't have access to it. But overall, Wat Tambor is a very interesting character. Maybe we're just in a spot where we're waiting for more Separatists to come, because remember, a while ago we were told that we were bound to see some more Separatists be released in some of the shipments and whatnot, and we haven't seen that just yet. So maybe more Separatists are going to come, so we have another full Separatist lineup that works, because the problem is right now, Wat Tambor has to pull apart various Separatist teams, whether it's a Dooku team or a New Gunnery team or a Grievous team or a Geonosian team. We still need about 1 or 2 more characters added to the Separatists, so you can have 3 full Separatist teams without them interfering with one another's units. So right now at this time, Wat Tambor looks to be an exciting character. Is this a must-have character where you're going to be screwed if you don't get it? It doesn't seem like that just yet. Definitely seems to be somewhere in that Hermit Yoda type of viability where it's very good, has a lot of theory crafting potential, but it's not going to make or break you if you don't have it. But that could change in the future as we see some more Galactic Republic and Separatists. And as the developer said, they're working on an epic confrontation event, and we don't know what that entails too. So keep your eyes peeled. This character does have a lot of potential to keep improving in the future, but as of now, you're not going to be screwed up if you don't have this character. Your Separatists, Grievous, and whatnot, Geonosians, they're already good without Wat Tambor. Wat Tambor just adds a nice little niche extra element of viability that they couldn't have access to before without his tech. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Comment down below on your thoughts of Wat Tambor. What ideas do you have that can make the most out of this Wat Tambor character? Or maybe there's a missing puzzle that we're waiting to happen sometime in the near future. Again, thank you so much, Mandalore. Go ahead, check out his channel, subscribe to his channel, and make sure you subscribe to mine as well so you're not missing a thing. And I will talk to all of you lovely ladies and gentlemen in the next video. Peace out, everyone.
Party Richter, Party Richter. Down, 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 down. Party Richter, Party Richter. Son of a bitch. Party Richter, Party Richter. Down, down, down.